name. Listen. Okay. So he is one of the very revolutionary activities. Revolutionary freedom fighter. The fight against to the British. So he is one of the different from the Gandhiji's message. Our Gandhiji ಗಿಂತ ಇವರು different ಆಗಿದೆ. Gandhiji is non-violence. Bhagat Singh is violence. Okay, dear children. Today we learn the new chapter, the will of sacrifice. Okay, shall we start? Let's start the lesson. Okay, dear children, I take a long reading. You observe the textbook carefully and then you listen carefully. Okay, shall we start? Okay, let's start. The will of sacrifice means sankalpa patra and then adondu balidana ichche anta helತಾರೆ. Sacrifice means to give their lives. ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಬಲಿದಾನ ಮಾಡೋದು, ದೇಶಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಜೀವವನ್ನು ಸ್ಯಾಕ್ರಿಫೈಸ್, ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್, ಪೇಜ್ ನಂಬರ್ 121. Dear children, open your books, all of you. Okay. Bhagat Singh was born on September 27, 1907 in Khatkar Kalan, Punjab, in British India. His grandfather Arjun Singh, father Kisan Singh and uncle Ajit Singh were all active in the freedom struggle. Young Bhagat Singh came in contact with some well-known political leaders like Lala Lajpat Rai and Ras Bihari Bose, while studying at the local DAV school in Lahore in 1916. In response to Mahatma Gandhi's call for non-cooperation against British rule in 1921, Bhagat Singh left the school and joined the National School at Lahore. This school was a center of revolutionary activities. Here, he came in contact with revolutionaries such as Bhagavati Charan, Sukhdev and others. He became a member of Hindustan Republican Association formed by the revolutionaries of Uttar Pradesh. There, he was initiated into their firebrand activities. Next paragraph, paragraph 3. The revolutionaries were branded as terrorists by the British government. They believed that the British rule was unjust and oppressive. Therefore, it was legitimate on their part to use violence as a weapon to overthrow the foreigners. They used bombs and guns against the British and robbed their establishments. Their ideas differed from the Gandhian idea of a freedom movement based on non-violence or ahimsa. Next paragraph, dear children, paragraph 4th. Bhagat Singh is remembered today not only as a bold revolutionary figure but also as a great thinker. He was steeped in the best traditions of socialistic thought. The theory advocated collective or state ownership of the means of production, i.e., land, labor and capital. This is brought out in the numerous letters does not mean violence, but the spirit of freedom, the longing for a change for the better. Next paragraph, fifth one. The incident that brought a total change in the life of Bhagat Singh was the brutal attack by the police and veteran freedom fighter Lala Lajpat Rai at an anti-British procession. It resulted in the death of Lajpat Rai on November 17, 1928 in Lahore. Bhagat Singh determined to avenge Lajpat Rai's death by shooting by British official responsible for the killing Deputy Inspector General Scott. He shot down Assistant Superintendent Saunders instead, mistaking him for Scott. He threw bombs in the Central Assembly Hall. When the assembly was in session, the bombs did not hurt anyone, but the noise they made was loud enough to wake up an enslaved nation from a deep slumber. Okay, dear children, next paragraph, page number 123, paragraph 6. For all aggressive activities, he was tried by the British court in India and was awarded death sentence. Death did not deter Bhagat Singh. He kept the spark of freedom and lived through his letters written from the jail cell. Thus, he proved that the value of a man lies not in what he is capable of receiving, but in what he is capable of giving. Two of the letters that he wrote, one to his fellow freedom fighters and the other to his brother, tell us what kind of a freedom fighter Shahid Bhagat Singh was. Okay, dear children, finish aloud reading. You take a silent reading for a few minutes and then we read some glossary words from the lesson and then we read explanation of the lesson. Okay? Shall we start? Are you ready? Okay. Your silent reading is start. glosary words from the lesson given your textbook. Okay, some glosary words is there. Page number 126. Glosary words. British India means India under the British rule. Next, well known means famous or widely known. Response means reply. Revolutionary, involving violence. Initiate, to make somebody a member of a particular group. Terrorist, persons who use violence to achieve their aims. Legitimate, lawful or regular. Violence, behavior that is intended to hunt or kill somebody. Thinker means a person who thinks in a particular way. Steep in, to be deeply involved. Socialist, one who advocates socialism. Next, collective means common. Pamphlets, leaflet. Turbulent, violent situation. Brutal, savage. Better, one with long experience of service. Enslaved means make one a slave. Aggressive, attacking. Shahid, martyr. Condemn, sentenced to punishment. Nurse, knot around the neck. Anxious, turbulent, troubled. Fortunate, lucky. Transportation, the act of sending criminals to a place that is far away as a form of punishment. Calamity, great misfortune. Dingy, dark and dirty. Comrades, mates or fellow associates. Conceal, hide, keep, secret. Elevate, lift up, rise. Symbol, sign, will, death, note. Okay, dear student, this is one of the glossary words. We read some glossary words, the same glossary words on the green board. Glossary words. British India means India under the British rule. Well known means famous or widely known. Response, reply. Revolutionary means involving violence. Initiates, to make somebody a member of a particular group. Terrorist, person who use violence and achieve their ends. Legitimate, lawful, regular. Next, violence. Behavior is intended to hunt or kill somebody. Thinker is a person who thinks in a particular way. Steep in, to be deeply involved. Socialist, one who advocates socialism. Turbulent means violent or situation. Brutal means savage. Okay, dear students, these are one of the glossary words from the lesson. Next we read some explanation of the lesson. Okay, shall we start? The will of sacrifice. Bhagat Singh was born on September 27, 1907 in Khatkar Kalan, Punjab in British India. His grandfather Arjun Singh, father Kisan Singh and uncle Ajit Singh were all active in freedom struggle. Okay, dear student, Bhagat Singh was born and September 27, ಸದಸ್ಯರು ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಟು ದಿ ಇನ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಗಲ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ರೂಲ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅವರು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಚಳವಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡೀ ಕುಟುಂಬವೇ ಧುಮುಕಿತ್ತು. ಓಕೆ ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್, ಆರ್ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? ಓಕೆ, ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ರಿಪೀಟೆಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, Bhagat Singh was born on September 27, 1907, ಖಟ್ಕರ್ ಕಲಾ ಇನ್ ಪಂಜಾಬ್. ಪಂಜಾಬ್ನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಖಟ್ಕರ್ ಕಲಾ ಎಂಬ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. And then his father, so grandfather name is Arjan Singh, and then father is Kisan Singh, and then uncle is Ajit Singh. The whole family involved to the freedom struggle. Okay, my dear children. Next we go second paragraph. Young Bhagat Singh came in contact with some well-known political leaders like Lala Lajpat Rai and Raj Bihari Bose while studying at the local DAV school in Lahore in 1960. In response to Mahatma Gandhi's call for non-cooperation against British rule in 1921, Bhagat Singh left his school and joined the National School at Lahore. This school was a center of revolutionary activities. Here, he came in contact with revolutionaries such as Bhagwati Charan, Sukhdev, and others. He became a member of Hindustan Republican Association formed by the revolutionaries of Uttar Pradesh. There, he was initiated into their five-branch activities. Okay, dear children, young Bhagat Singh came in contact with some well-known political leaders. ಅವರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಮಹಾನ್ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಗಮನ ಹರಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಲೀಡರ್ ಲೈಕ್ Lala Lajpat Rai and Raj Bihari Bose will studying at the local DAV school. ಅವರು ಇನ್ ಲಾಹೋರ್ನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ DAV ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಲಾಹೋರ್ Lahore. This school was a center of revolutionary activities. So, this school was particularly center of revolutionary activity. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಕಾರಿಗಳ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ನಡೀತಾ ಇತ್ತು. This school revolutionary means ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಕಾರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು. So revolutionary means involving violence. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಡಗೋದು. ಇನ್ನೊಂಥರ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ behaviors change. Next, here was initiated into their firebrand activities. ನೋಡಿ, initiated means ಆಗ ಪಾದಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ into their firebrand activities ಅಂದರೆ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಲ್ಲಿ, ಕಿಡಿ ಹೊತ್ತಿಸುವಲ್ಲಿ, ಮದ್ದು ಗುಂಡುಗಳನ್ನು ತಯಾರಿಸುವಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಇನಿಟಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಪಾದಾರ್ಪಣೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದರು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಆರ್ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್? ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಗೋ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್. The revolutionary were branded as terrorists by the British government. They believed that the British rule was unjust and oppressive. Therefore, it was legitimate on their part to use violence as a weapon to overthrow the foreigners. They used bombs and guns against the British had dropped their establishments. Their ideas differed from the Gandhian idea of a freedom movement based on non-violence or ahimsa. Okay, the revolutionaries were branded and terrorists by the British government. According to the British government, they were found out. The revolutionaries were branded to terrorists. So, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳ ಒಂದು ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ all the Indian revolutionary activities they were a terrorist. ಅವರ ಒಂದು ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಕಾರಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ದೇಶದ್ರೋಹಿಗಳು, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಟೆರರಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು, ಅವರನ್ನು ಟೆರರಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರು. ದೇ ಬಿಲೀವ್ಡ್ ದಟ್ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ರೂಲ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅನ್ಜಸ್ಟ್. ದೇ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹೂ? ದೇ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನರಿ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಫೈಟರ್ಸ್, ದ ಭಗತ್ ಸಿಂಗ್ and then Sukhdev, Bhagavati Charan and other like. They were believed that British rule was unjust and oppressive. ನೋಡಿ, unjust means ಅನ್ಯಾಯ and then oppressive means ದಬ್ಬಾಳಿಕೆಯ ಆಡಳಿತ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. They believed. They means who? The ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಕಾರಿಗಳು, revolutionary activities. Bhagavati Charan, Sukhdev and Bhagat Singh, like others, they believed to the British rule is very unjust and oppressive. ಅವರ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು? ದಬ್ಬಾಳಿಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅನ್ಯಾಯದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ನಂಬಿದ್ರು. That is true. Therefore, it was legitimate on their part to use violence or weapon to overthrow the foreigners. They believed. Therefore, it was legitimate means ಕಾನೂನುಬದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಲಾಫುಲ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಾನೂನುಬದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಇವರು ಮಾಡೋದು. ಯಾವುದು ಮಾಡೋದು? ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ವಯೋಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಹಿಂಸೆ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಮದ್ದು ಗುಂಡು ಆಯುಧಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸಿ ಅವ್ರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಹೋರಾಡೋದು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ತಪ್ಪಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರಾಂಗ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೈಟ್. They used bomb and guns against British. They means the revolutionary freedom fighters used their bombs and their guns against to the British. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅವರು ಮದ್ದು ಗುಂಡು ಬಾಂಬುಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಅವ್ರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಹೋರಾಡಿದ್ರು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ರಾಂಗ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ರೈಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರಾಪಿಡ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ರಾಪಿಡ್ ಅಂದರೆ ದರೋಡೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಅವರು ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಸಂಪತ್ತನ್ನು ಇವರು ದೋಚಿದ್ರು, ರಾಬ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ರಾಪಿಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದರೋಡೆ ಮಾಡಿ ವಶಪಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ರಾಪಿಡ್ ದ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Their ideas differed from the Gandhian idea. Then the revolutionary activities and then the Bhagat Singh ideas differed from the Gandhian idea. ಗಾಂಧಿಯ ಚಿಂತನೆಗೂ ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಗತ್ ಸಿಂಗ್ ಅವರ ಚಿಂತನೆಗೂ ತುಂಬ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್, ಬಹಳ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ನಾನ್ ವಯೋಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅಹಿಂಸಾ. ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರು ಏನಾಗಿದ್ದು? ನಾನ್ ವಯೋಲೆನ್ಸ್, ಅಹಿಂಸಾ. ಅವರು ಹಿಂಸೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರೋ ಅಹಿಂಸಾ ಮೂಲಕವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ತರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವರ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್. The revolutionary were branded the terrorist by the British government. According to British government, the ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ರೂಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಅನ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ರೆಸಿವ್. ಅವರ ಕಾನೂನು, ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು, ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ಮತ್ತು ದಬ್ಬಾಳಿಕೆ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಇತ್ತು. Therefore, it was legitimate their part to use violence weapon to overthrow the foreigners. So, they believe they use gun, bombs and others against to the fight British. That's not a wrong. Adu tappalla, adu right. So, they used bomb and guns against the British and robbed their establishment. Their idea differed from the Gandhian idea of a freedom movement based on non-violence, ahimsa. So the revolutionary activities and then the Gandhian idea were different. ಅವರ ಐಡಿಯಾಕ್ಕೂ ಇವರ ಒಂದು ಚಿಂತನೆಗೂ ತುಂಬ ಏನಿತ್ತು, ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಗಾಂಧಿಯನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ non-violence and ahimsa ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 4th paragraph. Bhagat Singh is remembered today not only as a bold revolutionary figure but also a great thinker. He was steeped in the best traditions of socialistic thought. The theory advocated collective or state ownership of the means of productions, i.e. land, labor and capital. This is borne out in the numerous letters, pamphlets and articles that he wrote in the course of short but turbulent life in prison. He wrote that revolution does not mean violence, but the spirit of freedom, the longing for a change for the better. Bhagat Singh is remembered today not only as a bold revolutionary. Today we are remembering the Bhagat Singh name because not only as a bold revolutionary, ಅವರೊಬ್ಬ ಬಹಳ ಉತ್ತಮ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಕಾರಿ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಮತ್ತೆ figure, but also a great thinker. He is one of the great revolutionary and then also a great thinker. ಅವರೊಬ್ಬ ಬಹಳ ಉತ್ತಮ ಚಿಂತಕರು ಕೂಡ ಆಗಿದ್ದರು. Thinker means ಚಿಂತಕ ಅಂತ. He was steeped in the best tradition of socialistic thought. He was steeped ಅಂದ್ರೆ deeply interested, ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು, in the best tradition of socialistic thought. ಉತ್ತಮವಾದ ಸಮಾಜವಾದಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಮಾಜ ಚಿಂತಕರಾಗಿದ್ದರು ಯಾರು, ಭಗತ್ ಸಿಂಗ್. That theory advocated collective or state ownership of means of productions. ಅವರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಲೇಬರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್. ಸೊ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಭೂಮಿ, ಲೇಬರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಶ್ರಮ, ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಬಂಡವಾಳ. ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೀನ್ಸ್. ಇವು ಮೂರು ಕೂಡ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಒಡೆತನದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರ ಆಸೆಯಾಗಿತ್ತು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ borne out in the numerous letters, pamphlets and articles that he wrote in the course of short but turbulent life in prison. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಜೈಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅವರು ಹಲವಾರು ಪತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು, ಲೆಟರ್ಗಳನ್ನು, ಪಾಂಪ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. He wrote the revolution does not mean violence. And then he wrote, ಅವರು ಬರೆದ್ರು, revolution ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು does not mean violence. ಅದು ಹಿಂಸೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. Children listen carefully. He wrote that revolution does not mean violence, but the spirit of the freedom. Okay? But a beautiful line is there. This is one of the very fantastic line. does not mean violence, but the spirit of freedom. Very fantastic line. Okay, dear children, he wrote that revolution. ಅವರು revolution ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರೆದರು ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್. Revolution does not mean violence, but the spirit of a freedom. ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು does not a violence. ಅದು ಹಿಂಸೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. But the spirit of a freedom. ಅದು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ. Spirit. ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ತುಂಬೋದು. Revolution does not violence, but the spirit of a freedom. ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅದೊಂದು ಹಿಂಸೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಲೈನ್. ದ ಲಾಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಬೆಟರ್. ಅದು ಮುಂದೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲವು ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು ಭಗತ್ ಸಿಂಗ್ ಅವರು. Okay, my dear children, are you understand this fourth paragraph? Once again repeated some points. Bhagat Singh is remembered today not only as a bold revolutionary figure, but also a great thinker. So today we have remembered Bhagat Singh is one of the great revolutionary, but he was not only a revolutionary, he is one of the most great thinker. ಸಮಾಜ ಚಿಂತಕರು ಕೂಡ ಆಗಿದ್ದರು. He was steeped in the best tradition of socialistic thought. That theory advocated collective or state ownership of the mean, productions, land, labor and capital. ಇವು ಮೂರು ಕೂಡ ಯಾರ ಒಡೆತನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಸೆ ಪಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅವರು. ದ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಗೌರ್ನಮೆಂಟಿನ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರ ಆಸೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಔಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಮರಸ್ ಲೆಟರ್ಸ್, pamphlets and articles that he wrote in course of short but turbulent life in prison. ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಪ್ರಿಸನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಜೈಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವರು ಪತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು, ಲೆಟರ್ಗಳನ್ನು, ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದು ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಈ ರೋಡ್ ದ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನರಿ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ವಯೋಲೆನ್ಸ್, ಇಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್. ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಹಿಂಸೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬುವ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ. ಸೊ ದ ಲಾಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಬೆಟರ್, ಅದು ಮುಂದೆ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳನ್ನು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರ ಆಸೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ ಡಿಯರ್